Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Melody's Book Chat. I am Melody. It's a great day. I have author Betsy O'Neill-Sheehan with me tonight. Betsy, how are you doing?
I'm great, Melody. How are you?
I'm on cloud nine. I am on cloud nine. I got my pearls on,
I knew
represent. Yes. It's so cool that we're doing this today. I think your book is so appropriate for the climate of what our country is going through. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But so I have gotten to know you through EduMatch because you are an EduMatch author. And so tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm a school counselor in Massachusetts, in East Long Meadow. Sorry. Sorry about that, real life. And I work with elementary kiddos. And I guess that kind of brings around to some of the things that I brought up for the book, with themes for the book. Just working with the kiddos, anxiety is a really huge problem across the United States, and especially now.
Right.
But trying to figure out ways to introduce little ones to the ideas of like cognitive behavioral therapy or dialectical behavioral therapy, those things that we know work for adults in managing anxiety, and trying to adapt that for little ones. So that's like my groove. That's like my
Yeah.
to try to figure out.
You are an author, but you're a school counselor.
Yeah.
How is that working out? Are you doing it remotely right now? Or are you in person?
So we just stepped in yesterday with our first day of hybrid. So this is a wild week for us. And I gotta say, our teachers, we were remote, and our teachers really stepped up, made an awesome, beautiful remote program. I was getting to do SEL classes, social emotional learning classes, with the kids every other week. So we were touching base and talking about different skills. Beautiful. And I also keep touch with them through individual counseling or small groups online. So now that we're hybrid, I've kind of got like both of those things going on, which is an interesting balance, but it's kind of neat to have one student in front of you and one student on a monitor. And we're still trying to, just stay connected overall,
Yeah.
But it's definitely something where there's been a lot of shifts.
Right. Wow. Yes. And kudos to you. Kudos to your school. If you want to give them a shout out, you can. I had one of your teammates here a few weeks ago, Valerie Sousa. Her book is in the back. She had a great read aloud. I'm so glad you get to do a read aloud too tonight. So tell us, so I have this wonderful, amazing book. And like I said, this is a really great book for such a time as this. And what I love about these books is that, like, when we are basing them on social emotional learning, and because we're educators, that's where our hearts and our minds go. They are themes, like you just said, that adults struggle with, but also kids struggle with. And sometimes we don't know how to relate them to younger people or littler people, but you do a very good job of doing that in the story. There's great themes in here, and beautiful illustrations. I know you have a Manuel Herrera. He is your illustrator. He did an excellent job. But tell us about the process and the inspiration behind Aggie and the Thought Compass.
Yeah, so definitely I was inspired by like each of those kids that came into my office, and I was like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to like adapt this strategy here, where you'll see in the Thought Compass book that it's based off of the Thought Compass. So Aggie has a friend who gives Aggie a Thought Compass, and it basically helps to figure out I'm more of a visual person when I'm talking.
Right. Let's open it up.
It kind of delineates, like, is this thought imagined or is it real? And is it helpful or is it not helpful? And it can get a little tricky about like if something's helpful or not helpful, because like uncomfortable things can sometimes be helpful because they tell us something needs to change. So I have certain ways that I'll slow down and talk about this. But really it came from, how do I simplify some of the thoughts that we have in our mind? Because so much of our behavior and our feelings is based off of what we've thought in our brains. And not every thought that we have is true. So we can sometimes have these big cycles of worry, or we can like little kids can have these cycles of worry, like, I don't want to go to school today, and this is why. And then it becomes bigger and worse, and they start to feel terrible. And all they really know is, in the beginning, that feeling of, I just want to stay home. And then when you start to unpack that with them, they're able to say, well, yeah, no, I do notice that it gets like really big before I say goodbye. And then when I say goodbye and then mom's gone or dad's already left, then actually it gets better. And then, trying to slow down and think about that whole process of like measuring your feelings. What are your thoughts when you're going through that, and slowing down and actually unpacking what they're going through gives them so much power to be like, oh, wait, when that thought shows up, I know I can talk back to it, or I know
Right.
that's someone that's not really true. So I'm going to switch it to something that's more helpful for me.
Yeah. And I mean, that's huge. It's definitely not a skill that like young people have just naturally. A lot of us older people don't even have that, we tend to like focus on our fears and what is unreal more than we do like, and so when I was reading this again today, I was just struck with the thought of like hanging on to what really is true and real and using, and I love the thought compass. It's funny. So when you're reading this book, it's like, if you're holding a compass in real life, like it's taking you in a direction. And I love that it's helping young people navigate the direction of their thoughts onto what you just said for something that is real. And that is just like genius.
Thank you.
Did you made that up?
I mean, and then the more I talk about compasses, the more I find out like there's all sorts of compasses for like design thinking and things like that I never even knew existed. So I'm always like, oh, that's really neat that they came up with these compasses, or like that people just kind of think about that and start to organize their brains in that way, right?
Right.
So I'm like kind of like a compass collector now. Like I want to hear about your compass. How do you delineate these different directions?
I love that. I love it so much because, as a teacher and even as a mom, and you're both also, when we ask kids, like, why are you feeling this? Or why are you upset? A lot of times they can't tell you. They don't know why. A lot of it's just they're overwhelmed with everything that they're feeling in that moment. And they can't like pick it apart and tell you exactly why. And so what I do love about this is just that you break it down. And it's something that if you do repetitively, you're going to be able, like, it just helps kids over time. It's a good conversation starter. And it's also good for parents to be able to have those, to have just help in a way to help their kids. And I'm a parent, so I really appreciate that. You did a good job.
It's a good way to give them the control, instead of us being like, oh, you're okay, you're fine. And then implanting our thoughts, which so many of us, I know I do that to my kids sometimes, like, don't worry about it, or no worries, but yes, no, listen to your worries. What is your worry telling you? Is it helpful or is it not helpful? Is it telling you
that
do your homework? Then that's oh, thank you, worry. Like, I forgot my homework. But is it telling you something that's not true, or something about yourself that you shouldn't believe? Then absolutely, that's not helpful and you shouldn't entertain it. Like, let's think of a more helpful thought for you.
And I don't know if that just spoke to some people out there right now, like adult people, but like, seriously, if it's not true and it's not real, don't entertain it. And I get lost in all of that. I think that's a message for all of us. So I hope it spoke to someone tonight. And I know, even before we get into the story, you and I, we shared a moment today. We shared a moment. We were singing Amazing Grace at the same time today, weren't we? We were hanging on to what is real.
That's right. Us and Garth and the rest of the United States. An Amazing Grace.
Right. I want Garth to know I was singing with him before he asked us all to join in. I'm like, bro, I'm just going to sing with you because this is a good song. Yes. Well, I want to take a second. So if you're watching, and I want to thank everybody who's watching, whether you're coming in from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, one of the communities that we're streaming live through, get your kids around. This is a children's book. And this wonderful, amazing woman is just about to share her story with us. She's going to share the illustrations. And so if you happen to catch this and it's not live, this is something you can share with your kiddos. Like, you can fast forward through the conversation if you want, but this is something you can share with your kiddos. And then after we share the read aloud, we're going to go to Betsy's website. She's got an amazing resource. She's got more than one resource, but she's going to show us one on her website that anybody can use. Parent, teacher, someone, if you're working with kids, Zoom or face-to-face, this is a resource for you. So stick around, but yeah, get your kiddos and let's, I'm going to go underneath. You're going to be big in just a second. I'm not going to be here, but she's a good storyteller. She knows how to hold a book and read it and show the illustrations. I'm not that good. What?
I'll miss you, Melody.
I'll miss you too, but I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.
All right, so this is Aggie and the Thought Compass, and it is illustrated by the amazing Manuel S. Herrera. So props to you, my friend. He did a wonderful job of thinking about how feelings should be illustrated. So this is Aggie and the Thought Compass, and you'll see Aggie here on the front is a maker in Aggie's box, like a rocket ship. So on this first page here, there are some explanations about the resources and about the compass and how to teach about the compass. But then there's also a QR code if you want to go to my website and have the different links for the game that we're going to play in just a few minutes. So here, I know I was just taken aback with the wonder in this picture here. But it says, "Hi, I'm Aggie Nation. Sometimes I get lost in my imagination. When you have a world so big inside your head, it's easy to get lost. Sometimes it feels like my thoughts are planted on the ground. I see what is real. I feel what is real. Other times, I feel my thoughts floating away. In my imagination, I can travel on exciting adventures, dream of my future, or visit fond memories. California, here we come." And here's Aggie up on top of a mountain saying, "I did it." But sometimes I think the worst. I see the worst. I feel the worst. My imagination spins out of control. When my parents saw the whirl I was in, they took me to Scoops to meet a new friend. They said, "Sometimes it's good to share your thoughts, look at things differently, and learn the strengths you've got." "I'm Aggie Nation," I told him. "Sometimes I get lost in my imagination." "I'm Blaze, a thought trainer," he said. "Knowing you are lost is the first step in finding your way back." "How did you become a thought trainer?" I asked. "Well, it took some practice and it took some time, but I can try anything when I wonder in my mind. I imagine running, playing, flying. I can even make myself a superhero, the bravest and funniest kind." "Sometimes my thoughts make me feel worried, angry, or sad. I listen, then steer them to more helpful ones that I have. I use my thought compass." "Want to try it?" he asked. "I do." Hold it in your hands and you'll learn to control and guide your thoughts where you want them to go. Breathe in, out, out. That's how you calm your big feelings down. Then find where you are in the thought you are in. Is it real or imagined? Is it helpful or not? Once you know where you are, you can plan your way out. Find 3 things around you that are real in your space. "Where are your thoughts now?" Blaze asked. "My thoughts are here, now, with you," I replied. Now we have to practice," said Blaze. "Tell me about a thought you get lost in a lot." I felt it come in like a dark summer storm. I got so lost in thought, I forgot how to talk. Then I heard Blaze's voice echo on the wind. "You have the control. Tell your thoughts where you want them to go." Remembering the compass I had in my hand, I blew the wind. In, out, out, until I felt the storm calm down. This thought is unhelpful. It is not real. I control my thoughts. I control how I feel. Then I saw his wheelchair, then his green shirt, and then his face. And I felt the comfort of a friend who was real in my space. Aggie, you did it. You used your thought compass. Practice and you will guide your imagination. I keep my compass handy to navigate the mysteries in my mind. Sometimes I let myself get a little lost, but I know how to find my way out. I'm Aggie Nation, and my imagination is me. Sometimes I wander and wonder, but now I control what I think. And if you'll notice right here, where it says I'm Aggie Nation, my kids love it when I point out that that spells imagination. And there's the wonderful Mr. Herrera.
Here, do that. Let me go back under and show him. Show your author page, because you also have the Scantron on.
Oh, sure. So here's the About Us, and that is Manuel. Oh, that's Manuel without that. And he is an amazing and wonderful human being, and was able to think about how the different parts of the feelings could be illustrated in different storms and balloons and the hat. So it was really awesome to collaborate with him. And that's our QR code. Again, I put it in there twice in case you miss it. But basically, it can lead you to my website. And we're going to play a game in just a minute with that, I think.
Yeah, that is so cool. And I tried to just put in the comments. I don't know if it came out right, but I'll do it after we're not live again. But I've dropped the link to this book in the comments if you're interested in finding it. You can get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, all of those good places. That was so cool. I love that it spells imagination.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of like, I don't know, my brain goes there sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to like play with words and different things. And I was like, I'm imagination. You can do that with imagination. And then
right.
So many different places from there.
Very, very clever. No, I really enjoyed that. And I think that there's a lot of good conversations that can come from this book. He's a maker. Blaze has, I mean, if you want to go, why does Blaze need to control his thoughts? I mean, you're talking about, you know what I mean? That's great. I love it. And then of course the compass, and you actually make thought compasses with young people.
I do. I don't have one right here, but it's like, one of those little wooden knots, and it looks like it in the picture. That's actually one of my sons is a huge maker. Mm-hmm. And he had made a clock, and Manuel and I had been like, what should we have the compass be made out of? And he was really big on, it should be something like kids would make, like
right.
that they would make. So I pulled out, I think right after we had that conversation, I was helping my son clean his room, and I pull out a clock that's like this thing, and he's got it all designed, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if this was like handheld, this would be a really cool compass. And then it turned into like one of those little knots, like one of the ornaments that you can make.
That is so cool. Yes, brilliant. I love it. I do. I got a little choked up when you were reading. That's cool.
Thank you.
And the illustrations are beautiful. So beautiful. All right. So I'm going to bring up your website, and we're going to play a little game. And again, this is something that if you go to BetsyO'Neill-Sheehan.com, you can also get, if you're a parent or a teacher or someone that works with students, this is definitely something you can do too. So let's play and tell us all about it.
So I made your own personal space here, or your own personal piece here.
I love it.
And here I am. But we probably only need to use one person, but I thought it'd be fun to put up that way. But these would be the pieces that usually come with the game that are in here. And this is just a Google Slides. And if people go to my website, it's there and it's ready to copy. So you just click on the thing and it does it like a force copy. So you can grab that. And it's also got resources on the side up here, like a video to explain how to play if it's and how to explain the thought compass and things like that. So here we are, and it's got a little dice function on the top, and we can get rolling. But I was gonna say, so we'll roll the dice, and then these swirly whirlies are like the breathing exercises that would be important to slow down and start to calm your feelings down, because we have to kind of start to get some air into our body so that our brains can think. And the red dots would be a thought card or a thought stop, and to stop and think about what it is that you're thinking. Is it helpful? Is it not helpful? Is it real? Is it imagined? And really just like stop and have a conversation about it, and letting the children guide what they think about it. Like, how would that be helpful, or how would that be unhelpful for you. And then the 1, 2, 3 is really about grounding. And I've found that I used to be really, really nervous to be online and on the video, especially when there was like a whole grid view of people. And to practice these strategies while you're online is kind of a neat thing to do, because you already have that sense of like, maybe your anxiety's up a little bit, or maybe your body isn't feeling so comfortable and you should check in with it. But the 1, 2, 3 means to practice a grounding strategy. And in the book, Aggie and Blaze says to find 3 things around you that are real in your space. So really, the kids love this part. It's like those show and tell, right? They look around and they say the 3 different things either they see, they feel, they smell, or taste. And they get really excited about it. So we can start. So Melody,
Yeah.
I'm going to move for you first.
Okay.
So we'll roll that dice. And then you rolled a 6. Look at that.
Awesome.
Let's see you travel here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you're on a free space. Let's roll for you.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That is so clever.
It's a lot of fun. Like, the kids love it, like going back and forth, right? Like, we're playing a real game. And if you can get them to share on the other end, like I posted to Google Classroom, I have 2nd graders who can get on. They open it up too. It's shared with them, and they move their spaces around and they roll for themselves. So it's a whole lot of fun. It's like, dynamic. They get to do both.
Yeah. Now, when you play with them, do they move their pieces like you're moving for me? Do they do that?
They do.
You're being nice and moving it for me. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you got a 1, 2, 3, Melody. You have to look around and say,
wait. I thought it was your turn.
Oh, no, we're going to just move you.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. What am I going to do? I'm sorry. At the 1, 2, 3. So I have to talk about my experiences. Look away from the computer.
Look away from the computer. And then.
Okay. Okay. So I'm looking away from my computer. I see this ring light right in front of me. I have my props right here next to me. Like, I have party hats and stuff. And I have my listening lips, and they taste like wax.
That's amazing.
Boom. Is that good?
I love that. That's amazing. So, like, you just took a break from like being so intensely into this situation here, right? Yes. And so, like, when we do that, we give our eyes a break, we give our bodies a break from like the situation, and we kind of train it to calm down while we're in a situation that might feel big.
Golly, right. That's amazing. This is like free therapy.
Right? It's a lot of fun too. Like, they don't even know they're practicing. It's so cute and so fun. And I'll add other lessons into it, and then we'll go back and be like, oh, remember how we just talked about some other different kinds of thinking strategies? Like, we don't just stick to the one book. We'll bring that to playing the game. Okay, so let's roll again. You don't have to do all of them.
Okay. I think this is great. I want to have some more free therapy.
Oh, I got the 1, 2. I'll do the 1, 2, 3 this time. So okay. I had to move. I think I told you this before. I had to move into a part of my house that I wasn't planning on because my son is fencing in the basement. So I can see
He's fencing.
What's that?
He's fencing. Like, I don't know anybody else who fences, so that's really cool. I just read about fencing.
Virtual fencing class.
That's so cool.
It's something else, I'll tell you that. Like, I've never had to be the dummy or anything like on the other end of it, so that's good. I see my guitar is right here. That's always very calming and relaxing. And I've got a nice, beautiful, like, Celtic bowl my husband bought me for Christmas. And I see my laundry waiting over there, so I'm not really on it right now.
I shall not look over in that direction.
Won't go that way. So, they really do. They love, like, and some of them will be like, can I have the 1, 2, 3 again? You need a break from the screen, my loves.
God.
All right. So let's see if we get onto a thought card. I hope so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we're on the 1, 2, 3 again. I'm going to pretend we got a 3.
Yeah. Let's just pretend that we got on whatever. Yeah. Because it's okay.
Yeah. Let's go there.
Yeah.
We go to the thought question, and there's a nice little deck right here, and you just kind of bring over the top card and make a pile underneath it. So you are about to finish a math assignment, but you're getting tired. You put your head down and say, I can't do this. What kind of thought is that? what would you say to yourself instead? So what kind of thought is it first? I can't do this.
It's a fear thought. It's a thought, an anxious thought. I can't do this. And oh my gosh, like the teacher and mom and me, this is something I deal with every single day when I'm teaching math. Like, you're such a genius. Okay. But anyway, so yes. Okay. I'm sorry. We're dissecting it. Like, you are brilliant.
So yeah. What kind of thought is it? What do you think?
It's a fear thought. Oh, in the compass.
So is it helpful or not helpful?
It's not helpful.
And is it imagined or real?
Ooh.
Right? That's where you stop and have the conversation. Is it imagined or real? Well, right now it might feel real because you haven't done it yet. But that can be something that we imagine a bit and put up like a block before we are able to get something. So you might say you can't do it yet. You might have to recognize that you're feeling really tired. And what does that mean to you? Like, do you need to take a little break and then go back to it? But if it's something that's going to be limiting them, you want them to see how they can turn it into something more helpful.
Wow. So it's a game, but you're literally discussing, like real life scenarios. I am so, you did all of this? You invented this?
Yes.
That is like incredible. I am blown away.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I wish if we could get PBS watching. Like, I feel like when you were reading your story and I'm looking at the characters, I'm like, this could be a PBS series. Look at this game. Like, I wish, like, can we get this to PBS, please? Like, someone pick her up. This is good.
Oh,
wow.
Yes, and Manuel like totally read my mind. Like, he spent time with me. He took the time to talk things out. And, I said, I think of like storms when kids are going through this. Like, it's something they get through, something that's going to calm down, but it's something that they feel really carried away with and that they can't control. But we want to teach them that they can control. So, like, that's why the breathing kind of ends in that swirl where Aggie's breathing. When Aggie's caught up in the storm. So,
right. And so when you're in the storm, that little breathing piece, like, we haven't landed on that yet, have we? Or we didn't do that?
Yeah, no, we didn't. Let's go there. We'll just pretend. We'll just go.
Yeah, we'll just pretend. We'll manipulate this game because we can.
Yes, we know how to. We know how to play. So it says to demonstrate a favorite breathing strategy. Oh my goodness, some of our kiddos have so many great breathing strategies. Their teachers pause and teach them different things, or they get on their Go Noodles and they do a break. So there's a lot I learned from them. So I bring up the breathing that's in the book, which is the percussion breathing of in, out.
That's right. Yeah.
So it went with the wording, and it is.
How can we do that? What's it? Okay, I got to clear my nose. Here we go. I want to do it for real. There are a lot of people that might be watching that have no idea what this looks like. I'm one of them.
Right, so ready?
I want to do it for real.
Okay, yes. I'm going to calm my silly feeling down. Ready?
Okay.
In, out, out. And then you keep doing it until you calm your big feeling down.
Oh, I love that.
Out. So there could be a lot more different strategies that you have, like either on deck, like that you want to teach, or you can have the go-to one, And I find that kids will have their own go-to breathing strategies. They're, some of them like to trace their hand, or they have different things that they learn from other people. And it's always okay for them to use their go-to strategy because that's what they're innately going to go to.
But if they don't have one, you offer them the one that you describe in your book.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I learned so much in this half an hour.
I'm so glad.
Like, and
it's a 500-word book.
I know. And here's the thing, like everything you're saying, I have dealt with in the classroom, my whole entire experience. I don't know, like almost 2 decades of that, and with my own children that I'm teaching right now. But the way that you have it organized, I'm blown away by it. Because I have never seen it like this. I really do wish that PBS would pick you up and Mattel would make your game for real. Like, this needs to be in the hands of all educators, because everything you're saying is legit. And sometimes we have this crazy thing. We just speed through stuff, and we end up making kids feel really overwhelmed with, like math or reading, or sometimes it's just the life that they are left at home and they're bringing with them, their luggage, or their baggage, the metaphorically speaking. I mean, all these things have such a huge part of the daily life of what it is to be a student in our school system. And I think that this is the most important part of our teaching, honestly. Like, I don't care if they know 3 times 4 as much as I care. Like, can they, like you said, can they navigate their thoughts to what is real and helpful?
Yeah, you have to be able to get through your day, right? Like, to be able to
Yes.
access the other things, you have to be able to get through and feel like you're able to access those things.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get you a gig. I'm going to use my networking skills and see if I can get yeah, we'll talk about that later, but this is amazing. Is there anything else on the game board that you want to explore, or on your website that you want to show?
I think, this would be probably the biggest resource that's there. There's also some other worksheet type things, if people like that, where it talks about the balloon and how when it's how when Aggie's in control of the balloon, Aggie's holding the balloon. But how when it becomes a storm and it becomes bigger, you kind of get swept away with that balloon. So to talk about how big your feelings get, or the magnitude of them, and how you can get swept away with them. And then the hat is just fun. The hat has different expressions throughout the book. And so there's a little book hunt for some of the different feeling spaces, because you need to have an emotional vocabulary and talk about do you know the difference between happy and sad? And sometimes with the littlest ones, you have to start there.
Right. Is it okay if I stop sharing for, is it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just I am so blown away by this. I couldn't even say that. No, I thought it might be kind of strange that we did this tonight because, it's inauguration day and, people might be carried away. A lot of people are up in their feelings. I'm euphoric today, but I know there are people completely on the opposite end of that, and as much as I can't understand that, I, like they do, it's their feelings, are their feelings. And I know what it's like to feel like that. And it's like getting to your thoughts, what is real, what is helpful, just to get you back where you can function and be a whole person. So I love the big ideas that you have in here, where they're geared towards young people, but they're helpful for everybody.
Definitely. My husband, at one point when we were going through, we didn't know in the summer if we were going to be remote, if we were going to be hybrid. I was not sure of anything. So when uncertainty is there, right, that's when worry gets really big and really loud. And so he was like, well, what do you want? And I was like, what do you mean, what do I want? He's like, well, what are you thinking? Use your thing. You're the one who came up with it. What are you thinking? And so I drew it all out for myself, and it took a good hour to sit down and really map out my thought. And I was like, oh, that's what I want. I want some good metrics. Before people were talking about these are the things we want for educators. I want good metrics. I want us to know how we're going to measure these things. How are we going to stay safe, and how are we going to keep our kiddos safe? All of those things, this is what I want, and this is how things could be helpful. It totally can be used in any kind of situation where you're feeling I'm not sure about this, and I have to really organize how I'm feeling.
Right. I love that. I feel like you just gave me a new tool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just want to give a shout out to EduMatch. All of us that are writing for EduMatch, and I'm thinking of Dr. Joy's book, Back to Zero. I think your book and Back to Zero remind me a lot of each other, because it's strategies that you can, as an adult, learn. While you're reading these books to your kids, your students, you're also learning, you're getting an insight from amazing people like yourself that know what it's like to work with kids that are struggling. And it's like a personalized PD that you're doing in real time. And so EduMatch, thank you for publishing amazing books.
Love. I'm grateful for Sarah and for Mandy and for you for being so supportive of putting all these things together, and putting authors and illustrators that are educators together to have these things. I know Dr. Joy because of EduMatch.
Yeah.
I love her book because it's that moment that kids don't think happens to other kids, but if there's a book about it, it's that moment where they have, that dysregulated feeling in the classroom, and maybe sometimes need to de-escalate and to go back to zero, which is the whole point of it. She goes up to 10 and back down to 0. it's amazing to break it down that way for little kids, but also to be like, look, there's a book about it. And so you're not the only one going through.
Right. And if you're struggling on even how to address it in the first place, whether you're a new teacher or you're just somebody that's a teacher or a parent that's just not used to it, it's just not in your realm, right, in your tool bag naturally, this is a really good place to start. So gosh, I hope everybody, listen, I want you to follow Betsy. I put her Twitter down there, O'Neill-Sheehan, or go to BetsyO'Neill-Sheehan.com. Look for this book. It's called Aggie and the Thought Compass, and my ring light is messing up the title. There you go. Aggie and the Thought Compass. It's a great book to help your kids and even you navigate your thoughts for what is real and what is unreal, what is helpful, and to focus on that and to control your thoughts. It's just amazing. Betsy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. When we look at young people and we're amazed by what they did, like we were talking about earlier, Amanda Gorman, right? She's the one that did the poem, the laureate poem at the end of the inauguration today. She came from I read an article about her yesterday. Like she stuttered. She did not come from a place where it was just everything was easy. Like she had to work for what she did a beautiful job today. I sobbed while she did her poem, said her poem. And I'm just thinking people poured into her to help her become who she is. And that is what we do for all of the kids in our life, whether it's our own children or whether it's our students in front or all of them together. Like, this is important work. This is important work. This is a great book. It's a great resource, but it's also a very cute little story. I'm going to try to tweet it out to PBS and maybe, I don't know, who am I, right? But still, I think I can see a PBS show on this.
You're like the sweetest person in the world.
I couldn't say it if I didn't mean it. I'm serious. So let's get PBS on this. Let's get Mattel to make these amazing resources or whatever education does that. We got to get it because this stuff needs to be in the hands of all the educators, So yeah. Thank you for joining tonight, Betsy. Thank you everybody for joining, whether it was Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or a community we're tuning in. We appreciate that you are tuning in. And Betsy, before we go, is there any last words that you'd like to share with us?
Oh my goodness. I just hope everyone is able to just kind of notice where they're at, check in with themselves, and then try to, like you were saying before, we sometimes could use this as a lesson, but we can talk about how we can move in helpful directions together as well. Not just ourselves, not just within our own thoughts, but how do we get to a helpful place together?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful time spent with you. You are amazing. And everybody, I'll see you next week and take care. Be safe and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.